Hey, 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 welcome in. Week 11 of the NFL. It's the closing line. Here with me, the big man on campus, and my co-host, Donnie Wright, said you can find us every day on Sportsbook Review. But we're here, as always, on Sunday, going game by game, breaking down the NFL. It's pigskin. It's winter, Donnie. You got snow out there. You got cold weather, football weather. We're breaking it all down. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing good today, man. Sunday, get refreshed and ready. Got an interesting card coming up here. Christmas trees across the odds board. If you're watching right now, lines that opened up earlier in the week, crashing, plummeting, some rising, some interesting starters at quarterback in the Baltimore game. A lot to go over today on the closing line, presented by sportsbookreview.com right here on YouTube. A little bit of business. If you see that subscribe button down there, Jeff, remember when we were hawking this maybe about, I don't know, even like a year and a half ago, when that subscribe button said like 22,000, 23,000, up over 50,000 subscribers. Thank you for choosing sportsbookreview.com and following us as a brand. And this is what we like to do. It's Sunday, Jeff. Let's have some fun, get after it, and pick some winners.
And I remember when I first started at SBR, I want to say they had 16,000 maybe.
Yeah.
It was a lot lower than it is now. But we welcome you all in. Hope you're having a great Sunday wherever you are. Hope you're having a great weekend as well. Let's get into our weekend here. Donnie, Sunday is here, and we have NFL. We got injuries. We got road games. We got all sorts of stuff. Your typical NFL Sunday. Let's get into it. Again, as Donnie said, hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Hit the like button. Say hello. Make your voice heard, whether you like us or don't. Let's get into it. 451, 452. Carolina Panthers heading on the road to take on the Detroit Lions. Carolina 4, total 49. Carolina, Donnie, been pretty good. One place they've not been good, though, is on the road. They failed to cover in 3 of 4 this year on the road, only scoring about 21 points a game, and they're giving up 31, Donnie. This has not been a good road team, Carolina, and that has, I think, some people a little concerned, but it's not affected the public bettors. They are all over Carolina in this game, and that's not a surprise. Matt Stafford has struggled. What will he do without Golden Tate? He continues to take a lot of sacks. He's on pace to have some really low numbers, the lowest of his career. I think he's gotten sacked over the last 2 or 3 games 16 times. He gets pressured a lot. I mean, 16 times, Donnie, in 2 games. That's too many. This Carolina team is pretty healthy. You're also going to have possibly Donnie quickly intervene. Is Snacks Harrison in this game? Is he playing?
He should be. Yeah, I didn't see him inactive. No.
What about Darius Slay? Anything?
Slay is playing. Yes, he's in as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
All this stuff does kind of help out Detroit. They're at home here. I'm starting to get to the point, Donnie, where for me, I like the Panthers. This looks like a great bounce back spot after getting shellacked by Pittsburgh. But this is a team that has not played well on the road, and I mean, Detroit is at a very low spot right now. I like Detroit's thought here, but it's just hard to back this group just because Stafford has been so demoralized and hit so much.
Yeah, it's probably the most decisive game of the week if you're looking from like a public sharp or a public non-public perspective. You got about 75% of the wagers coming in on Carolina. We don't have that much movement. Opens up at 3.5, minus 3.5 and 115, and it moves up to 4. We saw it get as high as 4.5, now back to 4. I guess if you're coming in, your angle here is that, I saw Carolina last off on the road. They're not a great road team. They got crushed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then again, it was a Thursday night road game. And now you're just saying, well, they should just be able to roll their helmets out and beat this Detroit Lions team who's been pathetic the past couple weeks, seemingly giving up on offense and getting injured as we go. But then again, excuse me, it's the NFL. You're going to have to win this game on the road. Approximately what? You're getting 4. So in order to cover it, you're probably going to have to win by 7. And that's not really the MO of the Carolina Panthers. But I find it hard-pressed. Like, I know it's not a public side, this game, if you're looking to bet the Detroit Lions. But what do you have to go off on offense? Is this a LeGarrette Blount game? Is this a Kerryon Johnson game? Is Kenny Golladay going to single-handedly win this football game? Like, Jeff, what do you have to go on if you're betting Detroit on offense?
No, you don't have a lot to go off of. And the point of the matter is Detroit has lost 3 straight. They didn't cover any of those games. They got blown out against Minnesota. Remember that game, Donnie? What, they give up 10 sacks in that game?
Yep.
Really struggled last week against the Chicago Bears. Bears ate them up. Here's the difference, though. Slay back, he makes a difference in that sector. He's a very good corner. But you're right. What do you go on offense here? I'm going to stay away from this one, but I'm going to tell you this. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit hang around in this game for some reason. I just think at home, maybe they have a shot here. This is a 3-point game or something. It's not enough for me to get involved, but I will tread with caution on this one. Donnie, the NFLs where you and I have lived this year, we've done very well there. If not for me and other things, we've done well in NFL. So I'm very looking forward to this. This show is just a fun show, and I'm happy to be here. But this one is not one that I'm happy about, really. It's a concern. But I got in my head, Donnie, it's hard to not maybe take a shot with Detroit with all the public on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for spots in the NFL, if you're going to take a road team, isn't it more comfortable you take the road team where they just have to get a win and get out of there? Maybe they're getting points. Maybe they're laying 2.5 or 3. You're going to look for more. But then again, it's, we're at the point in the season where it's not September where everybody's really putting in that time in the beginning of the week, because when you look at Detroit, what are they really playing for at this point? I get it, they're at home, and I get Carolina, not a good road team. I didn't wager on this football game because it looks a little suspicious to me. I think Carolina overall is the better football team, but you're right. Snacks Harrison helps in the middle, especially with that read option game. You're just not going to get free yards up the middle, and Darius Slay can sort of calm that pressure in the secondary and maybe wrap up one of those wide receivers, take maybe Funchess maybe out of the game plan. We'll see if Olsen, again, keep in mind, he's still dinged up with that broken foot. Now he's going to be playing on turf. We'll see how he does in this football game. I think Carolina's better. Carolina has to win this football game, but they're going to have to win by probably a touchdown on the road to get the cash.
Weird line, right? This is a weird line profile too. I mean, what'd you say? 75% of the money's on Carolina, and this line is set at 4 pretty much. I mean, that's just the truth. 453, 454. Atlanta hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Atlanta 3.5. Total 49.5. Cowboys coming off of a road win. They finally get their first road win. They'll have struggled. They've lost 3 or 4 on the road this year. And they're heading into a dome team atmosphere where Atlanta has been very good. They've been a high-scoring team, 32 points a game at home in Mercedes. But here's the thing. They've given up 30.5 yards, 30.5 points per game. Donnie, I did a podcast with the Whale Capper and Andy this week. And this one I kind of figured in on. I like this total. And I like it because I think Dallas can run the football here. Ezekiel Elliott had a big game last week. We saw Nick Chubb and others for Cleveland really get out and beat up this Atlanta defense. This team is still really struggling. They're struggling to get stops. They give a lot of receptions up to opposing backs. But then you look at their offensive line. I mean, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, all not 100%. They have some issues on their defensive line. I'm leaning kind of over here, and I think Atlanta should come in and get the job done. They've been very good at home. It's just hard to back this team with their defensive issues.
No, you're right about it. When you take a look at these games, you're right. There's a lot of injuries on Dallas. Dallas looked really good last week. Dallas hasn't put together back-to-back winning weeks just yet, which you're going to try to do here, but it's hard to do it on the road and in conference. You went and you had an emotional win, a season-saving win in Philadelphia. Sometimes you take that deep breath when you go into Atlanta now and say, hey, look, we're out of division. We're out of our own division, but still in conference. So this is going to be a bonus if we pick up this W, but we're really looking forward to Thursday, taking care of business at home, which is the more important football game if you're looking from a future perspective from the Dallas Cowboys. But having said that, we're going to be wagering on this game and take a look at what you like and what you don't like. I understand, in the NFL, you have to be able to throw the football to win and throw it effectively. Dak Prescott gets when you break it down, like Dak Prescott, you look at Matt Ryan throw the football. He's going to air it out. He usually looks pretty. It's usually a tight spiral, and he's got some weapons out there. When Dak throws the football, how many times do you catch yourself going, I wonder if somebody's open? Where's it going? Oh, overthrow or, nice catch or whatever it is. You don't get that feel. When Matt Ryan releases a ball and it's going, moving across the TV screen, you anticipate that wide receiver wide open and catching the football. I don't get that same appearance when I watch the Dallas Cowboys, especially Dak Prescott. It's more lucky when he completes passes to me than, boy, that was a really sharp play. The one time I had the Dallas Cowboys early in the season, which was a great winner, was Jacksonville at home. I like the Dallas Cowboys at home. I think they're a formidable team at home. I just think they're going to get caught up in a tough spot. And I love the fact that last week, coming off the win at the Redskins on the road, the Atlanta Falcons get smashed by the Cleveland Browns. You sort of refocus yourself. You come home and you take care of business in the dome. I like Atlanta in this one. Don't have that much of a feel on the actual over-under in this game if you were to bet it. But it's a dome, so you're going to have good conditions, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, look, Dak stinks. I think we need to realize that. I think you know that. I think we all know that. Dak's not a great quarterback. He struggles to move the ball, but this is an offense that he could maybe move it against. But I just think Dallas is a bit overvalued in this spot. They're coming off a nice win, but a win, Donnie, that, let's be honest, I mean, was it anything they did? I think it was a lot of the Eagles shooting themselves in the foot and things like that with poor coverages and all that kind of stuff. I'm confident with the Atlanta side here. I like where you're going with this
You
one.
need offense. Need offense in this ball game, Jeff. It's not really the Dallas Cowboys MO. It really is. I mean, yeah, great rushing game with Zeke Elliott last week. All right, well, if Zeke Elliott puts up 170 yards, then yeah, they're going to hang around in this football game. But you're going to have to throw to beat Atlanta. You're not just going to run it up the middle and take time off the clock. They're going to be able to score points, even though I know Dallas has a really good defense and an effective defense. But this is a little bit different. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia's offense struggling still, right? The week before that, they played Tennessee. Not really the bomber effect on offense. The week before that, Jeff, you play the Washington Redskins. The week before that, you play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The week before that, you play Houston. This is a formidable opponent on the road that's going to be able to air it out with multiple weapons. We'll see if Dallas can hang around in this one, but I like Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I think you're making a nice call there. 455, 456, Ravens 6, total 44 hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Wild one here. You got AJ Green out. You got Joe Flacco out. That means Lamar Jackson will be the quarterback, and that'll be interesting, Donnie. We haven't seen Lamar Jackson in the starter role. You also look at other than that. I mean, Baltimore is pretty clean as far as injuries are concerned, and no huge injuries other than AJ Green. Nick Vigil's still out. That's about it. But as far as your other defensive players, they're going to play.
Burfict's back in this ball game, so that'll help you out a little bit. Drake Kirkpatrick's going to be back in this ball game, so you get a little bit of those reserves back after that non-showing game last week that they had versus New Orleans Saints.
And Donnie, you talked about it, and we've talked about it. AJ Green, since for years now, Andy Dalton has struggled without Green. I mean, he just has. Without AJ Green since 2016, Dalton 20 points per game. When he does play, it's much higher. He just struggles. He doesn't get the job done. He doesn't have a ton of weapons. Joe Mixon has had some knee problems. How healthy is he? This is a Ravens team, Donnie, that's very good on defense. And at the end of the day, and as far as I know, Lamar Jackson doesn't play defense. Defense will get the stops. It's can he inject some life into this offense? They have some weapons. They have a good run game, and he can get out and move around. He's not as he's nowhere near as statuesque as Flacco. He can move around. He can get a first down with the rush coming at him. This Cincinnati Bengals team is not good on defense. They've gotten shredded in the passing game. Tight ends really hurt them. I like Baltimore here at home. I think they win, and I think there is a maybe, Donnie. I don't think there could be a quarterback conundrum here. I think Lamar plays well.
Yeah, you know what? Early in the week when I saw Joe Flacco was going to be out, I got really excited for this football game because you know what I wanted to see in this? And I don't know what the actual game plan is because it's a lot to be still desired of what you're going to see in the game because they're not going to tell you exactly how they're going to play it out. I really wanted to see the majority of the snaps go to RG3. When you have the ball in your own 50-yard line and back, not in the red zone or anything, I would love to see RG3 out there, a veteran guy. Not to say he's a great quarterback, but he's been there, done that. Maybe make sure to get the players lined up correctly, make the right reads, and just keep the offense moving and have a heavy package for Lamar Jackson. Like instead of giving him 5 plays a game, maybe give him about 20 plays a game, but always in the right spots. You bring him in on 3rd and 3. You bring him in on, 2nd and 3 and those type of environments to really be able to run that read option, that RPO look, and just get him out of the pocket to scramble around and make plays. What got me nervous waiting on the week, because I thought the line would open up. I saw it was 4.5 early in the week. I thought it would be about 5.5. Now I'm seeing the 6.5s out there. And it's not the fact that I don't think, Joe Flacco's been effective. But sometimes in this, you just want to make the pass that's open. And Cincinnati's defense is really bad. But having said that, Lamar Jackson has to be accurate. If we think that Lamar Jackson is going to come into an NFL game and he's going to turn into Lamar Jackson at Louisville, where he's going to run for 180 yards on 16 carries, that's not going to happen. You have to still make plays in the passing game to win, and that sort of scared me off. But if I'm watching this game and I see let's just say there's 80 snaps for the Baltimore Ravens, and RG3 gets 60 of them, I think they win and win comfortably. But if that's a role reversal there, we're just going to Lamar Jackson go out there and take his lumps or see what he can do. He's going to inject some life early in that football team. But I've seen way too many horrific passes from the kid when all you need is on a 3rd and 8, a simple, throw and catch for 10 yards and he pounds it into the ground. Or, I'm watching the Carolina game where he rolls out of the pocket and has a guy wide open for a 70-yard touchdown and underthrows it by 5 or 6 feet. That's what I worry about laying right around a touchdown with the Baltimore Ravens today.
I'll tell you what, what about the under? I know unders are tough in the NFL, but you have a quarterback that could struggle here. It's really hit or miss. We don't really know. But I think one thing we do know, Donnie, is the Bengals defense is not good. This is not the defenses of old that this group has had. They're going to struggle to move the ball on the road in Baltimore. I mean, I think on the surface, Donnie, this is the best defense in the league. I mean, maybe not lately. I think we found out that there's not a lot of great defenses in the NFL, but this is probably the best defense. I mean, they don't give up a lot of yards. They're good as far as points per game. I wish the number was 4. I'd be a little bit more interested, but 6, it's getting up there. You don't know what you're going to get from this quarterback. It's such a hit or miss thing. I think it's probably best to pass on this one, Donnie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're looking for a game, this is probably an under that you want to look at. I mean, there's a lot of good unders on the card, but I will never singly bet an under ever in any circumstances whatsoever, because you need absolute pure luck to hit unders in any sport. It's just a simple fact. But getting back to this ball game, when you look at Lamar Jackson playing, and I wish I could see. I wish I could be in the room, because if John Harbaugh sat me down and was like, "Hey, Donnie, you know what? Lamar Jackson could get 20 plays tomorrow," I would level the boom on Baltimore, and they would roll in this football game. But I just can't have a kid who can't pass the football as my primary provider in the NFL quarterback and think he's going to run around and make plays. That doesn't work. So that's why I just got scared off this football game late.
Now, Donnie, let me ask you, if I'm saying strictly to you, I remember about 2 years ago, I used to do a show on my couch with a friend of mine. And we'd go over every game, and we'd pick a game where we thought a team could win outright, like a 5-point dog or higher that could win outright. Would this be the one, you think? Because you have such the unprovingness of quarterback. You have a team that's really low right now. But
yeah, I mean, there's not really that. This is like the second highest spread of the week. So I hear you on that one when you're taking a look. Maybe the Oakland Raiders this week would be worth a look, taking on the money line. But yes, because you can enter in this game, and can you conceptualize saying, "Oh my God, Lamar Jackson was 12 of 29 for 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and he got sacked 6 times and fumbled twice." That's a legitimate concern, isn't it?
No, it is a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
Breaking news, Donnie, out of Kansas. Les Miles has been hired as the new football coach.
Good. Just put a face on that program, man. Just put a face on it.
I'll tell you what a great hire here. I have lamented this team for a long time. Why don't they hire? Why don't they treat their organization like they do the football? Les Miles, Donnie, 114-34 at LSU. Won the national championship game. I mean, this is a good coach. I like this hire a lot. Big splash. Nice work, Kansas. Let's move on to the next game. Donnie, also one other thing in the coaching news. The Browns have considered bringing in Condoleezza Rice as their next coach. Is that something I'm reading correctly?
Yeah, the Browns, I don't know what they're doing. I know. I think you just have to, and it all gets back to, we can talk an hour on the Browns, but it all starts with up top. Your instruction comes from your leader at top and your owner, who everybody has to listen to, and he's a straight up buffoon. The guy is just an outright buffoon as an owner. And if you're Cleveland, I mean, that is football country. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Northeast, that is football country up there. And you have a straight, I don't even want to drop the F-bomb here, but just a straight buffoon as your owner. You will never win in Cleveland. It doesn't matter. If you are a head football coach, you better go there and expect a Gruden contract. I want 10 years, $100 million, so then you can fire me after 1 year and I still get $90 million and I'll go coach somebody else. It's buffoonery in Cleveland, man, straight up.
But if I said to you 10 years ago, Donald Trump would be the president, would you have said the same thing? Like, there's no way that's going to happen.
But at least there's like something conceptually that you can actually wrap your head around. Like, you can't, just be a head. It didn't even make sense to me, because when I saw it, I thought it was one of those like fake articles where, somebody changes the name to Adam Schefter. And then I actually clicked on it. I had to read it for myself and make sure I saw it was on ESPN. It was actually Adam Schefter, because if you're Roger Goodell, I think you have to pick up the phone and be like, you know what? I know we drug test our players. We're going to start drug testing the owners and see if we can get them out of here and try to improve the situation, because it's just ridiculous. It's a mockery of the sport, Now,
keep in mind, Condoleezza Rice would be the first woman coach to ever be on the sidelines, which isn't a big deal. But keep in mind, she has some experience in football. She was on the college football selection playoff committee, which I guess that's something that means something. But we'll move on here. Let's go to the next game. Titans heading on the road to take on the Colts. Colts won, total 49. I'll tell you, Donnie, I like the way this Colts group is playing right now. They seem to have it going. On offense, Andrew Luck has been terrific. They're putting a ton of points on the board. And look, they've been good defensively, only giving up about 20 points a game over the last 3. You have 2 good defenses. Donnie, it's interesting. I ran into a friend of mine from high school at the barbershop the other night. He's a big Titans fan. And I said to him, what do you think about the game this week? He said, I got to tell you, he said, I don't remember the last time this team was playing as uniformed as they are. They're getting stops on defense. They look crisp on offense. They're starting to get it, it seems like. And I think the big week last week was obviously huge, but this is a big letdown game. It is a game that you have to be up for. It's a divisional game. But this Tennessee team, Donnie, hasn't given up 100 yards in the ground since October 14th. The problem is they haven't been great against the pass, and that's what Andrew Luck is going to do. He's going to shred you through the air. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a really good game. I mean, it's going to decide a lot in the AFC South to see if the Colts can end up being contenders or pretenders or really propel the Tennessee Titans in this game. The one thing that you do have to look for, Jeff, is sometimes in the NFL, it's good spots that you line up in. We've seen who the Indianapolis Colts have played the past couple weeks. Not exactly grinding schedule, so to speak. They were laying out the Jacksonville Jaguars last week and then almost got backdoored at the end of the football game, but ended up pulling that victory out. Frank Reich does have this team going in the right direction, getting a little bit healthier. But also when you take a look from the other side of the field, Jeff, right? You go to Buffalo and you pull out a win in a tough, nasty environment to the Buffalo Bills, right? You needed a late field goal to lose that football game. Then you play the Baltimore Ravens and don't show up at home. Another tough, strong defense there, grinded out type of game. You play the Chargers, but you go over across seas to play them, and within a 2-point conversion of actually beating them, so you ground out that one. You go to the Dallas Cowboys, another physical defense, 28-14, nice victory, and then you get a layup against a good football team, New England, just not a good football team on the road. So you're playing back to back to back to back, really good football teams. Sooner or later, that's going to catch up to you and it's going to wear you down, where it's not really the case with the Indianapolis Colts at this point. We look at the past couple teams they played, a couple home teams, the Jets, the Bills thrown in there. They're a pretty good home team. They should be able to move the ball and pick up points. And it's one of those games where sometimes, Jeff, it just comes down to, it's like a 50-50 type game, but you're going to lean on the home team in these type of environments, and you expect the Indianapolis Colts to win. Big game for both teams, so it should be fun to watch. Should be a really close game, as usually the Indianapolis Colts games are. I lean towards the Indianapolis Colts in this one, but I think there's going to be some points. Whenever you see, the Indianapolis offense and defense combined, it usually tends to play for an over. So even though it is a division game, it's 50.5, does seem like a good margin. I think both of these teams can play into the 20s here.
Yeah, this obviously Luck has played very well, but a lot of the emphasis should be put on how good this offensive line has been, Donnie. Good stat here. Andrew Luck has only been sacked on 8.5% of his dropbacks. That is a sparkling number. Doesn't get pressured much. He's got time to throw, and he's finding his weapons. Old Andrew Luck is back, Donnie. A guy that doesn't get a lot of love, but he's been off for so long, you didn't know he'd come back. He has been terrific. And this defense has started to kind of pick it up as well. So I like your thoughts here on the Colts at home.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the week, early in the summer, even at the IFBC. It's funny how you get at such an undervalued price on the Colts. If only Andrew Luck would show up and be healthy this year, what a boost it would be. And it looks like you're getting that boost only in the first year of Frank Reich. They're going to be aggressive in a lot of spots, and let's not forget, Frank Reich was over-aggressive in some spots early in the season, costing them football games like the Houston Texans. Houston Texans are only around today and playing good football, Jeff, because Frank Reich handed them a football game. That place would have been an absolute mess if they don't win versus the Indianapolis Colts on the road there to drop another, it would have been a tie, so they would have been winless at that point in the season, probably fired their head coach. It's amazing how a couple plays here and there can change seasons.
I'll tell you the biggest thing, Donnie, about winning the Super Bowl that you have to realize is you're going to lose coaching. And this team with the Eagles, they miss Frank Reich. I think you agree with that. He's a heck of a coach, and he's done a nice job at Indy. They've gotten themselves a good hire there. Yeah. 463, 464. Houston heading on the road to take on Washington. Houston 3, total 41.5. Very low number, Donnie. One of the lowest of the week, and for good reason. Both these defenses are playing terrific. And, Donnie, you look at this Washington team. It's quite amazing what they've done. Last week, Donnie, they gave up 501 yards, but only 3 points. Turnovers, not giving up touchdowns, bend but not breaking. But they're getting a Houston team in here that's won 6 in a row. They're playing as good a football as anybody. They have their new toy, Demaryius Thomas. Obviously they have one of the best receivers in the league Deshaun Watson playing well, and their defense is good. You look at Washington's offensive line, a lot of injuries. Trent Williams won't play. Sheriff already out. A lot of issues on that side of the football. It should make for J.J. Watt to have a big game here. The big question is, though, can you back Houston? Washington's 5-1 as a dog. They've been terrific in that role. They've been terrific all year. They bend but don't break. It's been quite impressive. And Alex Smith has had a pretty decent career against Houston. Tough one here. I'd lean Houston. Firing on this one. But concern is Washington as a dog. It just is an issue for me.
No, and I think you're right. I think your thought process correct. Now, in the NFL, when you're looking at 3 points, and we'll see if this line slides to 3.5, which it's a heavy public play, but it's one I would agree with because you're not trying to get it. Sometimes, Jeff, you see a home. Let's just say, we're going to get to a game in a couple minutes here, Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. We say, all right, both teams somewhat healthy. I like the home team. I want to try to be sharp. Well, when we look at the Washington Redskins, there's something to be said about they are winning football games, yes. But is it something that you just want to take a look at and say, well, the injuries are for real? They're going against a team that's rested, that can really exploit what their injuries are up front. And can they win this football game just by being smoke and mirrors and praying that the other team makes so many colossal mistakes and failures that you actually win the football game? Because the Redskins don't give you, just pop on the tape. They're going to run an old man in a wheelchair back there. It seems like Adrian Peterson, who the wheels are falling off over the past couple of weeks, and now he has no offensive line as is. So they say, all right, Alex Smith's a mobile quarterback. He's not going to turn the football over, but you have to make plays in the NFL to win. It was 500 yards, and the team gave up 3 points because Tampa Bay couldn't get out of their own way in the red zone, which was amazing to watch. I can't bet a team. I can't just be, you know what? It's a home team. They're getting 3. I'm going to be sharp. I can't do that. So, it doesn't matter. 68% are on the line. It would be Houston or nobody for me in this football game because I know what I get out of Washington. It's a prayer if they score, and I can't bet that.
No, you're totally right. Again, he throws a lot of picks, Smith. He takes a lot of chances, mindless interceptions. But, the one issue also I had in this game, Donnie, is both of these offensive lines are not good. Texans are not as bad as Houston or the Redskins just because they don't have as much injuries. But Watson's been pressured on his dropbacks the most in the NFL. Highest rate, over 41% of the time. So, again, it could be an interesting game played in the low 20s. Total very low here. It's difficult to get this total under. 21-17 is what you need. 24-20 is a loser. 24-17 is pushing the number. So you don't have a ton to work on here, but Houston should get the job done here, but I'd rather not lay points. I wish this was a pick 'em. I'd be all over.
No. I hear you on all those bases there. And the game has every look to an under, right? A defense that can attack an offense in Washington that would rather win the game 1-0 if that was even possible than get into a shootout. But it's 41. They just go to die. You can have 10-3 entering the fourth quarter and then, an interception return for a touchdown and the whole game is thrown off. This game should stay under the total, but we've seen that many times before. But I still agree with you on Houston. I just think they're the better overall team. They're rested. They can exploit the Washington Redskins up front. And what are we looking at from the Redskins? Would you be more surprised today, Jeff? 17 points out of the Redskins or 31 points out of the Redskins? That's what you have to wrap your mind around.
31 for sure.
Exactly.
You also look at Houston. Did the bye hurt them? They had won 6 in a row.
No, they were banged up, though. I actually think it helped them because you get Demaryius Thomas in here. Now he has an extra week of preparation time. Kiki Coutie's back. Say what you want, and you laugh at his name. He's a really good player, at least shown to be some statistics where he's a really good player over the middle. Yeah.
Texas Tech also
he's coming back.
Pat Mahomes, terrific. Imagine those two on offense. They were so good on offense. But, if Houston go on the road and win this game, that's a big-time win. It really is. But you got to remember, Donnie, you got Tennessee on deck. You get Cleveland and Indy on deck as well. So you're going to have 3 straight home games coming up to this. This is a big game for Houston. Find a way to get the job done here. Impressive stuff. What do we got? We got 2 more 1 o'clock games. New York Giants. This should be a riveting one, Donnie. New York Giants hosting the Tampa Bay Bucks. Giants 3, total 53.5. Giants, obviously we know what they are. They're not good. Bucks are struggling right now internally. How long does Dirk Cutter continue to remain the coach? But the Giants have not won a road game this year. They've not covered a road game this year. And Tampa Bay's won one on the road, so they're not playing
Tampa.
on the road either.
Are you talking about the Giants at home, right?
Or that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Giants have not won a game at home. I'm sorry. They're only averaging about 14.5 points a game, and they're struggling on defense. They've been trading players. They're selling off. But, Donnie, Tampa Bay, this is quite amazing. These are college numbers. Tampa Bay giving up 40.2 points a game on the road. 40.
Yeah.
Not 30, not 35, 40. Amazing. This could be the worst defense in the history of the NFL.
And more injured than usual today, which is amazing to say for them.
Now, who's out for them?
I mean, you got Godwin's offense. He's going to play, but you got
David
MJ Stewart's a starter. Levante David is out for this football game, and Justin Evans. There's literally nobody on the defense that can stop anything, and it's a shame. And I get back to the same point, Jeff, every week. It's a shame Eli's a quarterback because Odell Beckham could have one of those games. Sterling Shepard could have one of those games. Evan Ingram could have one of those games. They just go absolutely off. And you have an old man back there that just can't pull the punches anymore. He just can't get you the football. These are the games where Odell Beckham goes into the locker room and literally tries to throw his helmet at Eli, saying, I have 10 steps on this guy. You old man, you sacked yourself in the backfield. Must hurt for them. But look, it's a 3-point game, Jeff. It's a 3-point line. Anything less than 3, you're probably looking at and saying, no, I'll still take the New York Giants as a flyer because it's Tampa Bay on the road. You're expecting Tampa Bay to go on the road and win a football game. I think the Giants are the better overall team. But, boy, if the Giants had anybody at quarterback, they would lace this Tampa Bay team up, man.
I'll tell you something. I think you're being a little tough on Eli here.
Nah.
Let me just explain, okay? He wasn't good last week, okay? I get that. But the last 4 games, he's put up 382, 254, 372, and 266. This is a bad, bad defense. I think the game goes over. I think we see some points in this game. You know, a little old-fashioned shootout between 2 bad football teams. I know people on the surface will say, well, Eli can't move the ball. I get that. But I think you get a lot out of the backfield today. I think Eli moves it around. Maybe a pick 6 or 2. That'll never hurt. 2 teams that don't really run the ball a whole lot. I know they'll try to run it with Barkley, and I think he can break something here. I'm going to go over. I'm going to look over.
No, and I can't fault you on that. And the only reason why I didn't take the over is just because of what the Giants give me on offense. And it's a shame because this game should be a stone cold over. Like this Tampa Bay team should move the football against the New York Giants. But I can't say the same thing about the Giants, even with an awful, awful Tampa Bay defense. I just wish it was a little bit better. If Eli was a couple years younger, Joe, I'm not even talking about his arm, but we say it all the time when you have to make big plays. Like you have an Odell Beckham out there. Can you imagine if Eli could sidestep or manipulate the pocket? Like let's just say McCoy's coming up the middle. And he takes a step to the side, rolls out 3 or 4 feet, buys that extra second and a half for Odell Beckham to get open. They would light this team up. But when you just have to keep that old man in the pocket, you can reach over. You know, you have an offensive lineman blocking you, Jeff, and you can just reach over the offensive lineman and touch Eli on his shoulder pad, and he crumbles in the pocket for a 9-yard loss. Those are the ones that hurt you for the Giants.
You know, it's crazy. You know, people think like Odell Beckham's not having a good season or whatever. He's still killing it. I mean, he said 5 100-yard games or more. I mean, he's killing it. He's going to destroy this secondary today. Just get him the football.
That's what I mean. Like it's just like they have
here.
everything. Like if you just put a random quarterback back there, like if you put Blake Bortles back there who can sidestep something, get out of the pocket, he would annihilate this Tampa Bay defense. And that's just not what Eli can do, man.
Won't come as a surprise to anyone, but this is the first time Eli's been a favorite in 15 straight games. So he's been a dog a lot.
Is that true?
Yes, first time since week 10 of last season. So yeah, it's been a long time since he's been a favorite. So you know, we'll see what happens. He's actually done quite well against defenses that give up 30 points or more, as do most quarterbacks. Yeah. So again, a good spot for the Giants, but it's getting your head around the fact that they're a favorite. Yeah. I think we see some points here. Let's finish it out in the 1 o'clock games. The most interesting game of the day, if it's me, as far as the line, I mean, Pittsburgh heading on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Donnie, you have 2 teams that couldn't be more different right now than anyone else. Steelers are ascending. They're playing great football offensively. Le'Veon Bell is an afterthought at this point. Defensively, they've really picked it up. They head down and take on a Jacksonville team that, frankly, couldn't get much worse. This team has been awful. Defensively, they can't stop anybody. The quarterback is continuing to hear that he's not good enough, and he's not. The only saving grace is they got Leonard Fournette back. That's about it. But I watched this team get shredded by Indy last week. They just kept giving up big play after big play. But here's the big thing about this one. It is a road game, and second of all, the whole world is on the Steelers, yet the line, Donnie, has dropped all week, and it sits at 4 right now. The question I have for you, have the Jags quit? Are they done? they at point of no return where they've lost 6 games and this is it. What do you do here? Jags are a sharp play here.
Yeah, what about a sharp, split in this game? This probably is one
It's
of those
amazing.
games that has the divide between the sharps and the public and who's betting what.
Yep.
Because just looking at it, you say, wait a minute, I'm getting the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're red hot and they're rested off an extended rest. They're healthy coming in this football game. They no longer have the Le'Veon Bell situation over their head. They can take a deep breath knowing what their football team is and move forward. And then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who one of those last stand efforts last week came up small in a fumble, but give them credit. I thought they would have tapped out after going down a couple touchdowns in the first half, but they fought all the way through and had a chance to win the football game. And I don't know if they've given up yet, because it's usually teams that given up, Jeff, cornerbacks like A.J. Boye might take an extra couple weeks off to say he's not ready, but he's active and ready to go in this game. And if we know anything, Jeff, what you need are 2 things to be able to slow down the Pittsburgh Steelers. You need a really good cornerbacks, because you have to deal with Juju Smith-Schuster on one side and Antonio Brown on the other one to slow them down. The other thing you need, a ferocious pass rush, because the one thing that's going to take place is what Big Ben makes his money on. Why he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, Jeff? He holds onto the football for a long time to give his wide receivers that extra step to try to get open, and usually can lay it on them. You're going to have a nasty pass rush. You're going to have guys covered downfield. This smells to me, Jeff, like a couple Big Ben turnovers with, why did Big Ben throw that pass? Strip sack fumble by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It just has that type of feeling to me, where do I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can win the football game? Sure. I mean, the Steelers overall are a better team, but now you're asking them to win by more than a touchdown on the road. Just one of those spots they might get caught in them. But can you see the game, maybe Pittsburgh 31-17 final, and say, boy, we all laughed that one off. We really overthought that one. You can see it, but just looking at the way Jacksonville can get after, and I like to let Jeff Fournette over 100 yards last week, 2 touchdowns. He is a battering ram when healthy, and he is. This is a really fun football game just to sit back and watch as is, but I think the Sharps might have the right play here, Jeff. I think Jacksonville can keep it close, if not win the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is your stone cold pros Joes divide. It's very simple. Steelers will be in, people will be crossing 0 with teasers. There'll be money line in Pittsburgh. This is, I think, a defining game for Pittsburgh. Can you go on the road and avoid a letdown? You've won 5 in a row. You face a team that right now is beaten up and battered. They've lost 5 in a row. They've been to London. They've gotten shredded. I mean, Donnie, this team has given up a lot of points in the last 4 weeks. 40 against Dallas. You gave up 24 in London against the Eagles. 29 last week. They're starting to get beaten up in the secondary, but you mentioned it. Boye back. You getting. You still have Ramsey. Can they make a change? This is one of those games where, as a bettor, can you make the decision and say, I'm going to take Jacksonville? Look, if you're up, if you're doing well, if you're killing it this NFL season or this last couple of weeks, then for me, I would be on Jacksonville. I have not been killing it. Frankly, I've been absolutely terrible. So it's tough for me to do it. That's the problem. Because sometimes the back.
No, but that's not the way you want to take a look at it.
I know.
Money, just throw some money on it. I actually think Jacksonville's the right play in this game. Yeah,
I agree. I think they're the right play. I do. It's hard for me to envision why this number doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This number should be moving up. There should be no issue with it. But Donnie, this Steeler team, they haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in a long time. I mean, you look at these numbers, they've been terrific against the run. It's tough. It's a really tough game.
No, it's a good one. I mean, these are the games, which is why the NFL, for the most part, is a really tough cap in some situations, because you're going to get a lot of mind games playing and say, I can't believe I just didn't take Big Ben on the road. Jacksonville stinks, this, that. And let's not forget also, James Conner's coming off a concussion. The repeat of a concussion the following week back is very high. Maybe he's a little bit slowed. Maybe he's still a little bit foggy out there, because as well as I do, players want to play and they're going to get out there. We'll see if he gets that heavy workload. Now, James Conner's been amazing. He's just coming off a concussion. Does that mean the Steelers say, hey, if we need to, can we give you the ball 30 times this week? That's probably not going to be the case. So, I mean, you might be down. I'm not going to say down a guy, because he should play and play well because he's a good football player. But you do have that in the back of your mind as a coaching staff. Say, hey, he just got 10 touches in the first quarter. You might want to ease back on this kid.
I mean, Donnie, nothing about this game makes sense for the Jags. Yet the one thing that actually means something is the line. That's the only thing. I think the Jags come to play in this game.
Yeah.
I think they have to. Let's go to the 4:00 games here, Donnie. We'll start up to where are we at here? Eagles heading on the road to take on the Saints. Another one, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't get a team playing worse right now against a team that couldn't be playing any better. Eagles heading on the road to take on the Saints. Saints down to 7, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Total 57. Total's moving the right way. You'd expect to see a lot of points in this game. But Donnie, Eagles, everybody saw them lose last week. The Eagles can't be any worse. Super Bowl curse. This team is, they are what they are. Defense, they're playing guys off the street. Saints are killing it. Great on offense. But Donnie, the problem you have with the Saints is they're not a good defense. And I think it always allows teams to stay in the game. They'll win this game, Donnie, but why is this number dropped so much? This is another pro-show divide.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's a simple point because, again, we talk about a spot league in the NFL. I said it last week. Yeah, man, Eagles are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys, then get absolutely rolled down in New Orleans because in the grand scheme of things, this game wouldn't mean that much to the Eagles. You just got to take care of your own division, and you'll make the playoffs and win the division. Now you lost last week in a game you didn't expect to lose, and now all your cards have to be on the table because every loss is another nail in the coffin. You're getting over a touchdown. The Eagles in the last 30-some-odd games have only been beat one time by more than a touchdown, which is an astounding stat in the NFL for a team that can keep it close. And if Lane Johnson comes back and plays right tackle, they're going to light up New Orleans' team on defense. New Orleans' defense is horrific, and they're down their best pass rusher. One of the young pass rushers in Davenport has been out the past couple weeks. Are the Saints better? Of course the Saints are better. But You're trying to look for a way to bet the side. It's not just money line saying, hey, if you had a free play, you're going to take the Saints or the Eagles. Of course you're going to take the New Orleans Saints. But if you were getting early in the week 9, 8.5, 8, 7.5, whatever it was, the Eagles' MO is they don't get beat down, and Carson Wentz will throw for 350-plus yards today to keep you in this ball game. It's the NFL. There are weird bounces. There's fumbles that don't go your way. There's games where teams step up, and you don't even need them to win the game in order to cover. I think this game will be a little bit closer, and I loved the Saints versus the Eagles last week because I had the Eagles beating the Dallas Cowboys. Now that they lost, this is almost one of those season-defining games for the Eagles where they have to come to play. I think they will. I don't know if they can win, but they can certainly stay within the number of a touchdown and a half. You know what I mean?
How so quickly, Donnie, the things changed. Last year, what did the Eagles thrive on? Being the underdog. Nobody believed in them. They were fat and happy. They were the kings. Actually, quite poetic to me in a way right now. The Eagles have been back down, Donnie. Take a listen to this stat, right side. The Philadelphia Eagles, quite amazing. Let me find it here. The Eagles are only the 12th Super Bowl champion to be listed as an underdog of 7 points or more the season after winning the title. Those other 11 teams, Donnie, 8-3 against the spread in that game. They're back into this role of nobody believes in us. Is Doug Peterson pulling the wool over us and saying, you know what? I don't care what anyone thinks. We believe that we can go in and win this game. And I remember a certain game in 0-1-5 when they went into New England and beat New England. Same situation, 4-6. They were awful. They weren't playing well. Sam Bradford was the quarterback. They went in and beat Tom Brady and the boys up in New England. They're the underdog again. They're the big underdog.
Yeah, and here's what you want to even look at, Jeff, in the last 5 weeks, right? The Eagles have played one real shit defense in the last 5 weeks and put up 34 on them in the New York Giants. Minnesota's got a pretty good defense when healthy. Carolina's got a pretty good defense when healthy. Jacksonville's got a pretty good defense when healthy, and so do the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're getting back into that shitty defensive category where Wentz will light this team up. Your only problem, again, is, I say it, New Orleans has the perfect offense, and they will score points as well here. But you're getting a layup defense for the Eagles. They should move the football, move it effectively.
And that's the point here. I feel like if you like the Eagles, why not just take the over? They have to score points in this game. They have to. Yeah. And they're not equipped right now to handle this offense. No matter how much you believe, no matter how much you think they can cover, they do not have anyone in their secondary. There's no issue there. You're going to have guys like Avonte Maddox and Sidney. These are rookies, second-year players off injuries. There's no, Jalen Mills isn't playing. Ronald Darby's not playing. Rodney McLeod's not playing. Patrick Robinson was traded. This team doesn't have a lot in the secondary. You're going to have to score points. This game should be a shootout. It should be. The question is, can the Eagles hang and lose by 7 or less? I'm willing to think they can. In a shootout type of game, the points are worth it. I would definitely line shop for this one because, Donnie, you look at on SBR odds right now, Pinnacle, I mean, you can get 7, you can get 7.5. I mean, they're widely available. You're going to pay a little juice to get 7.5. U-Wagers got minus 120 on 7.5. Pinnacle 126. 5 dimes 120. So you're going to have to pay a little bit, but it's out there. There's going to be points in this game. it seems like your typical New Orleans game. Plenty of points, 38, 31, something like that. That if you're an Eagles fan, that's exactly what you'll hope for. Can you stay in this game? I think offensively they can. Let's keep it moving. A few more to go here, Donnie Wright said. We got the Denver Broncos heading on the road to take on the Chargers. Chargers 7, total 46.5. A lot of Charger talk, Donnie, lately. This team, you're starting to see it again. They're playing great. Phillip Rivers having an MVP type of season. And then they fall flat in their face. This Denver team, the offensive line is a mess right now. Case Keenum might have some real trouble today against a team in LA that's pretty underrated on defense. Look at the last 3 games, only giving up 14 points a game. Not great offense they face, but still playing well without Bosa. When he comes back, it's going to be impressive. You look at a couple of injuries as well for the Denver on defense. What do you like in this game, Donnie? Do you trust LA by a touchdown or more?
Yeah, I mean, their MO is that, they come out. They don't really like to blow teams out, so to speak. We've seen a lot of Charger games over the past couple of years, bad special teams, missed kicks, and they keep it closer. That stupid fumble that seems to always pop up for the Chargers. I think they're the better overall team, and Denver's a little bit nicked up on the offensive line, which could be a problem. Bosa back for the Chargers today. How about that? But the minute you get Bosa back, Jeff, you lose Denzel Perryman, the heart and soul of your defense. That should open things up a little bit for the Denver Broncos. It's a division game. If you're going to give me 7 points in a division game, I think the Denver Broncos can hang close in this football game. I think the Chargers are the better team, but I just don't. I'd see one of those games. I mean, they struggled last week, the Chargers, putting away a very bad Oakland team, albeit it was on the road. But when you have these division games, teams tend to stay close. I'm not going to have a wager on this game, but if I were, I would take the 7 points with Denver, see what I could mix out of that one.
Yeah, I mean, Melvin Gordon should have a pretty good game. Denver not great against the run. Chargers putting points on the board, but I think they're going to be putting a lot of points on the board. I don't know how many points Denver's going to be putting on the board is the big question. Yeah. A lot of people like the under in this game. I don't have a ton on this one.
No, me either.
This is the closing line NFL edition. I'm the big man on campus. He's Donnie Wright. Said we thank you for joining us today. Do us a favor, hit the like button if you're in here. A lot of people in here enjoying the show. So many comments, so many great comments. We thank you for that. Hope you all find a lot of caching today in your future. Let's move on here, Donnie. We got 1 or 2 more here. And this one is interesting. Oakland heading on the road to take on the Cardinals. What do we got on the line here?
Line drop 4.5.
Yep, 4.5. And then you got the total is 41. Sorry, not 51, 41. Lowest total on the board. Both offenses are have issues, let's say. They both struggle to move the football. But, Donnie, I just cannot justify laying 4.5 for 5 points with a team that is 1 win at home. They're averaging, Donnie, 236 yards a game. That's it, 236. They're not very good on defense. They're giving up 25 points a game. Their completion percentage is 57.5%. Look, for all the stuff about Derek Carr, all the stuff about the Raiders, they're 1-8, they quit, they're 0-5 on the road, At least he completes 71% of his passes. They can move the ball, I guess. I just don't seem to understand why you would lay 5 points with the Cardinals. I know Oakland's not good, but neither's Arizona. I think this game should be a pick. I think it's a complete toss-up. There's nothing really you can sell to me where Arizona's 5 points better than Oakland.
Yeah, I normally would tend to agree with you on that, and I'm not going to be wagering this football game because you have one team that may have already quit on its season. The other team's still trying to play football in Arizona, but you can play football. You only have one football player in your running back. You have a rookie quarterback. You have a team that's, if they win or lose, it doesn't really matter so much. And then you're asking that home team to go out there and win by almost a touchdown in this game to get the cover when, hell, they struggle to win football games as is. I mean, when you take a look at some wins for the take a look at the most recent win for Arizona in this football in the season. Let's say San Francisco, which their only 2 wins came against San Francisco. About 300 yards on offense, and the previous win before, which they won 28-18, about 200 yards of offense. You have to move the football up and down the field. One turnover or fumble can change this. I wouldn't be interested in taking either one of these teams because I think Arizona is going to give you the honest effort when I'm not sure if Oakland can do that. but I don't want anything to do as far away. I don't know if somebody has a sharp angle on this game or just take it one way or another. Oakland should be able to hang around with a possibility to win the game, but I'll be damned if I bet a football team that already quit and have my money on them.
Yeah, and that's kind of your concern here. Does Oakland just say, well, let's subtly just lose every game and try to do what we got? We know what we got to do here. I guess I'm just looking at it from a perspective of, again, if this was a pick 'em, I could understand, but laying almost a touchdown, 6 points or something. I mean, it's only 4.5, 5, but you have to win by a touchdown.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure that can happen. Let's get to the final game here. Vikings, Bears. Should be a great game. Should be a knockdown, drag-out affair on the frozen tundra of Soldier Field. Donnie, they call it the Windy City for a reason. It's windy. It's cold. Game time temps will be in the 20s here. And, Donnie, I told you on our WCKG show, this Bears team is terrific defensively. Khalil Mack back. They force turnovers. They forced 7 turnovers over the last 2 weeks. Terrific defense. You're going to face a quarterback in Kirk Cousins that is not good in sub 20 degree weather. He's just been brutal, frankly. And that's a big concern here as well. Mitchie Tools Trubisky starting to get it going. This offense looks good. This Bears team, this is a big step in the right direction. This is a we're real in this division kind of game. But the Vikings getting healthier in the secondary. I just don't really trust Cousins in a game like this. He has not been good in these kind of conditions outside of, with Washington and other teams.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Here's the deciding factor what you need in this game. I know the Chicago Bears are a good football team, and I know the Minnesota Vikings are a good football team. Here's the advantages that you have if you're a Chicago Bears backer. It's going to be outside. It's going to be cold. You're playing a dome team. You can't get around that. There's a lot of soft muscle tissue injuries, Jeff, where a lot of players are coming back to the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to play in this football game in colder weather conditions. Now, we've seen the Minnesota Vikings over the past couple of weeks sort of like right that ship, as I like to say. You're going to get both of your wide receivers back healthy in this game. Dalvin Cook should play in this game. Maybe get Anthony Barr back. You're going to get your cornerback, all-world cornerback, Xavier Rhodes back, but they're all still nicked. And when it's really cold out, that magnifies those injuries. Now, if Minnesota comes back completely healthy, plays the game completely healthy, it's going to be one hell of a football game. But I like what the Chicago Bears have been showing me the past couple of weeks. I like the Chicago Bears, what they show me as a home football team. One way you defeat a really good pass rush, Jeff, must have a young, mobile quarterback. That's what Maserati Mitch does. We're going to see who's going to make that first mistake, Jeff, right? Does Mitchell Trubisky throw that interception early? Does Kirk Cousins fold in the pocket like he did versus the New Orleans Saints of all defenses and make some terrible plays out there that you just can't get back with an interception the other way? That pass rush on both sides of the football is really going to be heating up. But Khalil Mack at 100% is an absolute terror and a difference maker out there. And I think that's going to be enough. I like home teams in the NFL. You know me, Jeff. I like the Bears.
Yeah, and just to magnify a little bit more about Cousins, he's played 2 career games in below 30-degree temperatures. Mm-hmm. In those games, 4 interceptions, no touchdowns, and he lost both games, and he was a favorite in both of those games. So, again, he's not been good in that role. That was, again, when he played for Washington. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. He's starting to become a little bit of a house cat maybe. Doesn't like to go out and play in the cold. This is going to be brutal weather tonight. It's cold stuff. You know how that is, Donnie. I agree with you. I'm liking the Bears side here. There we go, Donnie. 54 minutes. We've completed all the games, even the Sunday nighter. And we will be on at halftime for anyone that's curious. We'll kind of look back at the first half, see what's going on. For a quick, 10, 15 minutes. Donnie, we went through all the games. What do you got for the people? You want to give them something? What do you got?
Yeah, early on, there's a couple games out there that you want to try to like get your head wrapped around, and you want to see if you can find like a sharp angle or two on these games. I have a couple that I've already given out, but if we're going to take a look at one of those games, which I just think makes sense, and we're going to buck the trend here today, Jeff. Carolina and Detroit, there's 48.5, 48s on the board. Looks like Intertop's 48.5, sportsbook.com.ag 48.5. I'm actually going to go under in that football game. I just think Detroit is depleted, and the way to win this game is to not outscore the Carolina Panthers. Darius Slay's back. I mean, we already knew Snacks Harrison was back. Maybe Ziggy Ansah. I didn't see him on the inactive report, so they might be able to heat up the pocket and keep that total a little bit lower. I'll go under 48.5, Jeff, in that Detroit-Carolina game to start the day off here on the closing line.
Yeah, I think the 1 o'clock card is tough. There's a lot of landmines. There's a lot of avoiding. I think the Detroit side is interesting. Obviously, want to see what happens with Jacksonville. But the one play I think is really strong. I think we see some points. I'm going to go over 53.5 in Tampa Bay Giants. You can still get some 53.5s at some of the books out there. Shop around. Bookmakers got 53.5. So I'm going to rock with that. I don't love anything at one, but I think that's one. I think Houston's interesting as well. But I'm going to rock with you, Tampa Bay Giants over. I think Eli can move the ball, and yeah, we know the Bucks will. So I'm going to rock with that. Donnie, as always, great work. You're one of the true professionals in the NFL. Enjoy talking to you. Enjoy doing this show every week.
Mm-hmm.
Great people. A lot of people are listening, whether you like us or don't. We thank you for the watch either way. Thanks for participating as well. We'll be back at halftime. You'll enjoy the 1 o'clock games. We'll see you at halftime. Bye-bye.